You're out of a job. Your pocket is empty, and that feeling hits harder than any punch. The world seems to keep turning but without you. People around you live their usual life, they hurry to do business, come home, and smile. And you, behind the window of this reality, as if behind the glass, watching them, but you are no longer a part of this habitual flow. Everything that was important and familiar has suddenly disappeared, leaving you alone with the endless emptiness. Despair is not just a feeling, it squeezes my chest like a heavy stone, preventing me from taking even a breath. It seems that every next step is meaningless because there is only darkness ahead. Hopelessness becomes your companion, covering you like a wave, and you drown in it, not knowing how to swim out. At such moments it is difficult to find the strength to do even the slightest action because everything seems meaningless. But here you sit, lost in this lull, and a single, agonizing question arises within you: what to do? What to do when it's like an abyss in front of you, and there is no road that leads forward? This moment, however, is not the end. It is your challenge. It's the moment when you have a chance not just to survive, but to rise up. It may be the hardest thing you've ever experienced, but it is here and now that your struggle begins. How will you get through it? That's a question that only you can answer for yourself. Philosophy teaches us that nothing in life happens by chance. Each event, whether it brings joy or pain, is part of a deep and complex picture that we cannot always see at once. We are used to seeing the world through the lens of our daily routines, through a set of habits that shape our reality. But when something in that reality breaks, like you lose your job or face serious hardship, the upheaval feels chaotic and unfair. It's as if everything collapsed for no reason. But philosophy offers us a different perspective. There are no coincidences in the world. Every event has its roots and consequences, and what is perceived as a tragedy today may in fact be the beginning of something new. When life knocks you out of your usual rut, it's not just a blow, but an opportunity to reassess your life, goals, and priorities. Perhaps it's a moment to finally make that turn you've been wanting to make for a long time, but have been hesitant to make. A job loss or life hardship isn't a dead end, it's a fork in the road. And while the pain of loss may obscure the vision of the future, philosophy reminds us that behind every closed door are new opportunities. They are not always immediately visible, because when we focus on the past, it is difficult to see what lies ahead. Philosophical teachings give us the key to understanding that crises don't just happen, they are necessary for growth. A crisis, no matter how severe, always happens for a purpose. It is a kind of challenge that life throws at us so that we can step outside the box and grow. Difficulties push us to change, make us rethink our perceptions of the world and ourselves. Perhaps you would not choose this path voluntarily, but it is through overcoming crises that a person becomes stronger and wiser. Every significant life change is an opportunity the universe gives us for personal growth and inner transformation. When one door slams shut in front of you, it is not the end of the road. On the contrary, it's a signal that you have new roads to explore. Often we are so fixated on past successes, attachments and losses that we fail to notice other chances that open up nearby. Any loss, no matter how painful, hides a seed of change. It's a moment to reflect on what you want to change and where you really want to go. Crises are natural, even if it is not obvious at first glance. They occur for a reason, and each of them is a challenge, an opportunity to take a step forward. Just as a tree, in order to grow higher, must put down roots deeper, so you, in order to rise to a new level, must go through an inner transformation. Crises, as moments of destruction of the old, serve as a ground for the birth of the new. But the new does not appear out of nowhere, it is created by yourself, by your actions and thoughts. When you face difficulties, it is always a chance to revise your beliefs and find the strength that will help you cope with the challenges of life. Life is a chain of cause and effect, and no event happens without a reason. Sometimes it is only after a while that we realize why something happened to us. However, philosophy helps us not only to make sense of what happened but also to see it as an opportunity for growth. Any loss is an opportunity to reevaluate yourself and your goals, and realize what is important right now. It is a time to stop clinging to the past and step boldly into a new future. Crises teach us flexibility, and teach us that we can adapt and grow in the most unexpected circumstances. And it is in these moments that the greatest opportunity for personal and spiritual development is hidden. Every difficulty is a challenge. And the harder the crisis, the more strength you can discover in yourself. A crisis doesn't have to be something that destroys you. It can be the point at which your new life begins. It's important not to be afraid of these changes because they are what give us the opportunity to become better, stronger, and wiser. Life offers you a new path. The only question is whether you are ready to take a step towards that path, transcending fear and doubt. I knew a man who in his youth dreamed of becoming an astrophysicist. Space was his passion. He could stare at the stars for hours, imagining how he would explore the vast expanse of the universe, unravel its mysteries, and discover new worlds. He was inspired by science, and the thought that one day he would be able to contribute to the understanding of the cosmos always gave him strength. He was one of the best students at the university, his work attracted the attention of teachers, and it seemed that a brilliant career as a scientist was ahead of him. He was full of ambitions and plans, his future seemed clear and filled with great achievements. However, the reality turned out to be much harsher than he expected. After graduation, it was impossible to find a job in his specialty. Science required experience, connections, and his future colleagues seemed to have already found positions in scientific institutes, while he was left alone with the reality of unemployment. His financial situation was deteriorating and he needed to do something to support himself. At one point he realized that his dreams would have to be put on hold. Then he was offered a job at a crematorium. It seemed like a temporary solution, no more than a few months until he found a suitable job in his specialty. In his mind, it was a temporary shelter, an escape from hunger and moneylessness. However, time was running out. Instead of returning to his dream, he performed monotonous, arduous chores every day. Each morning began in the dark, damply lit corridor where the elevator stood. It was here that he would pick up another coffin, carrying it down the long, cold corridor that led to the furnace. He waited for the flames to turn the body to ash, watching what had recently been a living person disappear. Then he would grind the remaining bones in a special machine and pour the ashes into urns to be given to the relatives. This monotony consumed him. Day after day he burned bodies, old men, women, men, children. Dead, lifeless bodies. The same actions were repeated over and over again. At first he consoled himself with the thought that it was only temporary. He believed that he was about to get a chance to go into another field, that he would be offered a job in science, that life would shine before him again with new possibilities. But every day his hope waned. At first it was weeks, then months, then years. Time seemed to pull him down into the abyss of routine, and now decades had passed unnoticed. He hated the job, but he could not make up his mind to change. Fear gripped his mind. He was afraid of being destitute, afraid of uncertainty, afraid that he would never find another job again. All he could do was endure and wait, but for what? One day he looked back and realized that not months had passed, but years. The very years he had dreamed of devoting to space, to science, to great discoveries, had passed in a crematorium. In his struggle for survival, he had missed the most important thing, his dream. Each morning it became heavier and heavier. His hands, once strong and vigorous, were shaking and it was difficult to lift the coffin. He did not notice how he had changed from a blossoming young man into a profound old man. His face was covered with wrinkles, his hair turned gray, and his eyes lost the luster that once inspired him to great achievements. And so, one of the last days before his retirement, he told me bitterly, "I always wanted to change something, but I never dared to take the first step." This man, who dreamed of great discoveries all his life, lived it in routine because he was afraid to take a step into the unknown. He could have become someone else, gone after his dreams, but his fear of change kept him back. He was afraid of losing what little he had, and in the end he lost everything. This story is a vivid reminder of how important it is not to be afraid of change. Sometimes they come suddenly, throw us off our routine, knock us out of our comfort zone, and it can seem like a real disaster. But there is tremendous power in these changes. When we accept a challenge and dare to take a step into the unknown, life can change in the most unexpected ways. Change is an opportunity to step out of a familiar rut and find new paths. It is a chance to avoid a life full of regrets about what was once undone. Change is not always easy to accept, but if you feel that your path is now frozen, that your dreams are in the past, that you are just existing, not living, maybe it's a sign that it's time to make a change. Don't be afraid of change, even if it comes suddenly. Take that step into the unknown, discover new horizons, and let life show you that everything you were afraid of losing was really only temporary. Don't be afraid of change, even if it comes suddenly. When life suddenly throws us out of our routine, it can seem painful and frightening. We are used to stability, to predictability, and any disruption to this routine is perceived as a disaster. But if you look more closely, behind the outer chaos lies opportunity. It's not just an excuse to stop for a breather. It's a chance to see the world and your life from a new, unfocused perspective. We rarely think about how deeply entrenched we are in old habits until we encounter something that disrupts that order. And it is in these moments that we have a unique opportunity to rethink our goals, dreams, and the path we are on. It is important to realize that now, in this moment of change, you have the time and space to look at yourself and your life from a different angle. Often we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday life that we forget to ask ourselves the important questions. What do I really want? Am I happy with what I am doing? Am I going where I want to go? When your routine is disrupted, when old plans fall apart, you have the opportunity to do something you didn't have the time, courage or determination to do before. It may be the right moment to step into something new, something that has always seemed out of reach or too risky. Instead of dwelling on what is lost, focus your efforts on what can be gained. Concentrate on what new opportunities are opening up for you. You can use this time to develop skills you've always thought you'd be interested in, but haven't had time for. Perhaps this is the moment to finally dive into learning something new, whether it's learning a new craft, profession, or even just a hobby that could grow into something more. New knowledge opens doors in front of you that were previously hidden. The world around us is changing rapidly. Technologies, professions, and the very structure of society are transforming at an incredible speed. And in this rapidly changing world, those who are open to new knowledge and ready to adapt will always find their place. Crisis is not the end, but an opportunity to become more flexible, to learn what may be useful in the future, to reorganize your worldview and aim for a new stage of life. This crisis gives you not only time for reflection, but also for real action. It is an opportunity to reassess your values and goals. Perhaps those things that once seemed important no longer matter so much. And what you've been putting off in a distant drawer may finally become a priority. The crisis opens a window of opportunity for you to reevaluate your life and start building it around what is really important to you now. Development is the key to moving forward, and in moments like this, you have a unique chance to restructure your life to be closer to your true aspirations. You may have been following a path that was imposed by circumstances or other people's expectations for a long time. But now that things have changed, you can stop and ask yourself, what is really important to me? This is a time to make your life more conscious, more purposeful. Change requires courage and determination. But they also open up new horizons, giving us the opportunity to live the life we have always dreamed of. It is the moment when you can take control of your life. And while change is always accompanied by the unknown, it also carries great potential. Don't miss it. Now is your chance to not just deal with the crisis, but to use it as a springboard for growth and transformation. Life gives you the opportunity to rebuild your world, and it is up to you to decide what this world will become. When one door closes, we often freeze in front of it, consumed by the grief of loss. Our minds delve into the past, mentally revisiting what was lost, whether it was a job, stability, status, or life purpose. At times like these, it feels like nothing good will ever happen again, and this feeling can be paralyzing. We focus so much on what is gone that we forget to look around, to see that the world is not limited to one closed door. In fact, there are always other possibilities around us, other paths that can lead to a new stage of life, but they go unnoticed because of our obsession with the past. Stress, anxiety, and fear of the future often reinforce this sense of hopelessness. The habit of clinging to the past, to things that once seemed unchanging and important, prevents us from seeing the possibilities that life offers us in the here and now. We think about what we've lost, we build mental scenarios of what-ifs, we waste time regretting what will never be again. But in reality, while we are standing in front of a closed door, missing the moment, other doors may be opening right in front of our eyes, but we don't see them. Life is full of unexpected opportunities, but they often require us to let go of what is behind us in order to step into the future. Don't let yourself get stuck in what has already happened. Yes, loss is always painful, but it is not the end. A closed door doesn't mean there are no other avenues. Sometimes a crisis that seems like the end of something important is actually the beginning of something much more significant. We can get so caught up in our job, position, or status that we see no chance for change. There are times when the opportunity to try something new, to do something you've always dreamed of, is right in front of you, but you don't see it because you're too immersed in regrets. Look around you, perhaps somewhere nearby a door is opening to a career that will bring you more joy and fulfillment. Or a project that has long beckoned you, but seemed out of reach, suddenly becomes a reality. To see these possibilities, you have to allow yourself to expand your horizon. Allow yourself to see the world more broadly than before. Let go of what is gone and pay attention to what the present offers you. Open doors aren't always obvious, and they often require you to let go of the past and give yourself a chance to see the future. This doesn't mean forgetting what was, but it does mean stopping dwelling on a lost opportunity. After all, when you focus on one thing, you miss out on a whole world of possibilities that are opening up in front of you. Stop looking back at the closed door. Look ahead, where new and perhaps more interesting paths await you. In every difficulty lies a chance for change. Sometimes we get so deeply buried in our fears and anxieties that we don't notice that a whole new perspective is opening up before us. Life is full of surprises, and often the deepest crises lead us to opportunities that are truly in line with our true desires. There are times when the difficulties we experience guide us on a path that will ultimately lead to greater happiness and fulfillment than we could have imagined. Maybe your lost job wasn't something that brought you real fulfillment. Maybe you've long dreamed of something else but were afraid of change, and now you have a chance to finally follow your calling. Crises knock us out of our comfort zone, and that's what allows us to grow and move forward. As long as you're holding on to an old door without noticing that it's already closed, new opportunities remain out of your sight. Let it go, and you'll see that a new, more exciting path awaits you over the horizon. Don't be afraid to take that step. Allow yourself to step outside the box and look at your life from a new perspective. You may find that opportunities that seem daunting and uncertain will actually open the door to a world you never dreamed possible. When you stop looking only backward, you will see that there is something much brighter and more amazing ahead of you than you ever imagined. When you find yourself in a difficult situation, it's important to remember that our body and mind are much more connected than we tend to think. We often focus on our thoughts, trying to find a solution in our heads, but we forget how much our physical state affects our emotional and mental health. Taking care of your mind is impossible without taking care of your body. Physical activity, whether it's intense exercise, yoga, or even a simple walk in the fresh air, helps to relieve accumulated tension, get rid of stress, and regain the strength to fight life's difficulties. When you move, your body starts to produce endorphins, the natural happy hormones that instantly lift your mood and help you think more clearly. It's in moments of physical activity that you can feel the tension drain away, and you can feel more space in your head for new thoughts and solutions. This is especially important when everything around you seems chaotic, when problems pile up one after another and there seems to be no way out. At such times, the body becomes your ally, able to restore balance and help you cope with emotional overload. This was understood by ancient Greek philosophers, who saw physical activity not just as a way to maintain health, but as a basis for harmonious personal development. Plato, whose name translates as broad-shouldered, was known not only for his philosophical works, but also for having a strong body. He believed that a person seeking wisdom and spiritual development must necessarily take care of his physical form so that his mind could work at its best. Pythagoras, whom we know as a great mathematician, was a champion fist fighter. These philosophers understood, physical strength and body strength is not just an adjunct to intelligence, but an important foundation for it. A strong body helps you cope with life's challenges and strengthens your inner resilience. You don't just need health and a strong body to cope with current difficulties. It is the key to your endurance in the future. There will always be new challenges in life, new problems, and the stronger you are physically, the easier it will be for you to overcome these challenges. When life throws you into a whirlwind of crises, everything seems to fall apart, but if you are strong physically, you have a foundation to lean on. The body becomes your support when everything else seems to be spinning out of control. Physical strength is not just a way to cope with today's challenges, it is preparation for future challenges. It gives you confidence and inner stability, knowing that no matter how difficult the circumstances, you always have the tools to move forward. In moments when life strikes, your body becomes your anchor, keeping you afloat. So stop whining and feeling sorry for yourself. Stop thinking that the way out of difficulties is only to think and find solutions. Want to deal with pain, anxiety, stress? Get a grip on yourself. Complain once, but then get up and take action. Go to the gym, release your aggression and pain through physical exertion. Your muscles are your tool for dealing with crises. Train your body, toughen it up, and you will see how every day you will find it easier to cope not only with physical but also with emotional and mental difficulties. Stop whining. Do you want to suffer? Suffer in the right way, in action, not in inaction. Use pain as motivation to become stronger. The suffering you are experiencing now can be your motivation for transformation. Realize that suffering doesn't have to be useless, it has to be channeled into action. Go to the gym, run, lift weights, and train your body, and you will see that along with physical strength, you will regain your inner energy, clarity of thought, and readiness for new challenges. Losing your job is an important signal that life is giving you a chance to reevaluate your priorities and radically change direction. It's a moment when you can stop, look around and realize that old ways don't work anymore, and instead of dwelling on the past, you can use this opportunity for new beginnings. It may not be easy to recognize that the old path is over, but it doesn't have to be. New horizons are now opening up before you, and you have a chance to live differently, more consciously and freely than before. You are on the threshold of change, and it is important not to miss this moment. This is not the end, but a new beginning. Now you have the opportunity not just to continue the old routine, but to start learning something new, to master those professions that previously seemed out of reach or too risky. Perhaps in the past you didn't even think that you could try yourself in other fields, but now you have the time and motivation to take that step. Learning is the key to new opportunities. In today's world, where everything is changing at an incredible speed, those who are not afraid to learn and develop will always find their place. This applies to all areas of life, from technology and business to art and science. New knowledge will help you not only adapt to change, but also see life from a different perspective. Perhaps you have long had a dream of doing something that seemed distant and unattainable, but now it's time to make it a reality. Every new skill you learn will open doors you didn't even know existed. It is not only a matter of professional growth, it is a matter of personal development. You can not only become more in demand on the labor market but also reveal your hidden talents, try yourself in those roles that previously seemed inaccessible. Perhaps now you will find the job or business that will bring you real pleasure and satisfaction. This moment is your chance to change the direction of your life. Use it to move forward, develop, and grow. Don't be afraid to step outside the box and try something new. Use this time to open new doors, because they can lead you to heights that you could not even dream of before. Cardinal changes require courage, but they are the ones that give you the opportunity to grow and develop. This is your chance, and it's up to you how you use it. Breath control is one of the most powerful and accessible tools for stress management. When we face difficult situations, our breathing becomes shallow, rapid, sometimes even ragged. In such moments, anxiety and tension take over us, our body tenses up and our mind becomes trapped in chaotic thoughts. But it is in such moments that proper, conscious breathing can be your lifeline. It is a simple but incredibly effective technique that can bring you back to a sense of calm and control even in the most complex and confusing situations. When you learn to control your breathing, you affect your body and mind at the same time. Conscious, deep breathing helps you slow your heart rate, relax your muscles, and calm your racing thoughts. As a result, you begin to feel the tension gradually fade away and there is more room for clarity and a sober perspective. This is especially important in times of crisis when things seem to be spiraling out of control. By controlling your breathing, you can regain control over your reactions, emotions, and body. One of the most effective mindful breathing techniques is pranayama, the ancient yogic art of breath control. Pranayama helps not only to relieve stress, but also to find inner balance, which is so important in our fast-paced world. These breathing practices allow you not just to calm down temporarily, but also to strengthen your nervous system and make it more resistant to stress in the future. Pranayama teaches us proper breathing techniques that regulate the flow of energy in the body and help us achieve harmony between mind and body. Pranayama practices can include a variety of techniques, each designed to address specific issues. Some exercises will help you relax and calm down, while others will help you increase your concentration and energize your inner energy. If you learn to control your breathing with these techniques, you will be able to manage your emotions more effectively, cope with anxiety and tension, and find the inner balance that is so essential in life. If you'd like to learn more about pranayama, I'd love to help you. Write to me in the comments and I'll go into detail about how these ancient practices can become your tool for stress management and inner harmony. It's completely free, and I'm willing to share my experience and knowledge with you. I will explain how through philosophy and breathing practices you can learn to manage your emotions, cope with tension and stress, and find the very inner peace that each of us seeks. By managing your breath, you manage your state of mind and learn to respond to life's challenges with greater clarity and calmness. This skill will help you not only in stressful situations, but also in everyday life, strengthening your psyche and allowing you to better understand your emotions. Don't be afraid of change. They can seem scary, like stepping into a dark place where there is no certainty. But it is in these changes that your opportunity to move to a new level of life, to take a step forward, lies. Every change, even if it seems like a crisis or a disaster at first, is actually the beginning of something new. It's like a turning point in the book of your life. A chapter closes, but a new story unfolds ahead. Change forces us to go beyond our comfort, to challenge our habits, but it's what gives us the chance to change our destiny, to start anew, and perhaps much better than before. Philosophy is not a set of abstract ideas locked up in textbooks. It is practical knowledge, tested over centuries, that helps people survive and overcome difficulties. Great philosophers didn't just reflect on life, they faced its harshness, and crises that threatened to break them. It was philosophical principles that helped them to find inner strength, to cope with adversity, and to see that behind every crisis lies new possibilities. Philosophy teaches us to look at difficulties differently, not as walls blocking the way, but as stepping stones leading upward. Every challenge is a chance for growth and development, an opportunity to become better, stronger, and wiser. Many great thinkers have gone through difficult times. Stoicism helped Marcus Aurelius cope with the enormous responsibility of the emperor, and it was philosophy that gave him strength in times of war and disease. Philosophy gives us concrete tools for gaining inner strength, and for surviving in the most difficult moments. Believe in yourself. You may not see a way forward right now, maybe change seems too hard, but every step, even the smallest one, is a move toward a better version of yourself. It all starts small. Start with one step, one simple task. Develop, learn, try new things. Change your life little by little, one step at a time, and you'll see doors start to open in front of you. Sometimes the most difficult step is the first one, but once you take it, the whole world starts to change around you. And with each step you take, you'll get closer to who you want to be and where you want to go. You have everything you need to make it. You have powers inside you that you don't even realize you have. Develop them, and you can overcome any challenge and achieve what you've always dreamed of. Every day is a new opportunity. Even in the most difficult circumstances, you can take a step forward. Difficulties and obstacles should not stop you. They are just steps on your path. When you start moving, even if slowly but surely, you will see how change will lead you to the life you have always dreamed of. Always remember, you are not alone. If it's hard and you need help, write to me. I'm here for you and I'm here to support you.